So again, just speaking about the same point, for again somebody who is starting off fresh, what matters more, growing your income or chasing high returns? What do you think should be a priority?
Absolutely growing your income, right? Even today, at the age of 36, my focus is continuously on growing my income. It is not on maximizing returns. I am 100% comfortable with 12 to 14% returns on my portfolio, because my portfolio size itself is so big that it adds, even at 12% return, it will add a sizable amount of capital to my wealth.
Fair enough.
And I just have to double my money every 5 to 6 years. I am not chasing returns. I am chasing growth in income. Can I double my income in the next 3 years is the question. Because my base is higher, I am saying 3 years. If my base was lower, I would have said 2 years. And I figured this very late in life. Okay, this is not something that I figured early in life. If you told me that focus on increasing income at the age of 22, I would have just done that. I figured this around the age of 30.
So what were you chasing? Were you also chasing returns?
Absolutely, yes. In my early years, I did chase returns. I have done F&O. I have done small cap investing, micro cap investing. I have purchased advisory services of multiple advisors.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
how did that pan out? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
It obviously did not pan out well, right?
Yeah.
In the end, markets teach you life-lasting lessons, right? It is up to you whether you are able to learn from that or not. Just for example, in 2017, we had a massive small cap rally. All my money was invested in small cap. I did not exit on time, right? And these were direct stocks. I did not exit on time, and I saw that crash also in 2018. And then I figured that, okay, this is not the way to invest your money, right? And my temperament is not meant for buying stocks. My temperament is to invest in mutual funds, right? So from then onwards, I moved everything to mutual funds. I don't buy any stocks on my own. What I learned was that if I put 5 lakh rupees in a stock, and even if that goes 10x, it's not going to change my life again, because the likelihood of that happening itself is very, very low.
Yeah.
Right? And the amount of time that I need to spend to figure that stock versus me spending that time on earning more money, you have to, see which is more beneficial.
Yeah.
So I have always been of the view that anyone at any level of wealth, sure, once you've had, accumulated a sizable wealth, then you can decide, okay, is this enough money for you, or do you want to create wealth, continue to create wealth out of it? So you can take examples of big investors who have done that, converted their 4-5 crores to 100, 200, 500 crores. And then there are people who are comfortable with 8 to 10 crores and they've retired, right? So
Yes.
that is a call that you need to take personally.
Yeah. I hope this answers a lot of questions that the youth have been watching our podcast about. So the main reason is because, as you realize this in your 30s, right? A lot of times you see the youth, probably in their late teens and early 20s would be having the FOMO, quite certainly the Gen Z FOMO kind of a situation where they are chasing higher returns or comparing their portfolio with their friends and trying to get into the whole F&O and intraday and all of that.
Yeah, so couple of things here, right? So when you chase higher returns, let's take real estate, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people, what they do is they flip real estate.
Yeah.
Right? They will buy today and sell it at a profit after a year or a couple of years, and they'll use leverage and all that. The problem with this whole idea of flipping is that unless you build a portfolio of real estate and you just take concentrated bets of, investing money in a single piece of real estate and then flipping that, one fine day you will get stuck.
Yeah,
because
it's nothing but like money rotation as well, right?
It is money. No, sure, that's fine. But what happens is, say I bought one property A today, I sold it at a profit. Then I bought B, sold that at a profit. Bought C, sold that at a profit. When I bought D, I got stuck in that property because the builder couldn't deliver.
Yeah.
There were some issues because of their compliances. Markets crashed, and my money got stuck, right? So your overall long-term returns came down significantly at what you would generate without doing all that exercise anyways.
And your cash is also stuck in
And
a
cash
place.
is stuck now,
Yeah.
right? So these things people don't understand. They get, because once they have a good experience, they think that I will continue to have this good experience forever. And the
Yeah.
same thing happens in FNO. Even if beginner's luck favors you and you make some money in FNO in the early days, then you think that I am the king and I will continue to make money.
Yeah.
And one fine day, markets will teach you that lesson.
So, do you agree with me if I would say that FNO is nothing but legalized gambling?
To an extent, yes. For most people, yes. But then people who understand these markets very well, who understand risk management, who understand position sizing, for them it's a full-time business.
Yeah, of course.
And if you can do it on a full-time basis, then you can definitely make money from it. But the most important thing that you need to understand is risk management, position sizing, and when to stop and reduce your bets, which only you've seen data from SEBI, right, which says that more than 90% people lose money in FNO is for a primary reason, because less than 10% people consider it as a full-time business and run it as a business, right? Everyone else is chasing multiplication of wealth only.
I guess a lot of people with time have realized that FNO is kind of risky and they should focus towards long-term capital, building the wealth for a long term.
So that is also true. Like for example, we work with almost 300 families, right? We help them with their financial planning, wealth management, etc. Less than 1% of families engage in FNO or such speculative activities because they've understood how wealth is going to get created, right? And I'm sure this is becoming largely true across India.
Yeah, because again, so many times that has happened with us in Savart as well, where people have come literally crying and being totally depressed and shattered that they have invested money in FNO. And initially, as you said, the beginner's luck favored them and they made a good chunk of money. And then suddenly they really got humbled by the market, I would say. I guess humbled would be an understatement, but they were so shattered because a lot of their money got lost because of FNO. And then they realized that it is important to invest for a long term and be patient.
Correct. So even of the best of the traders, if you talk to them, okay, the ones who really do it seriously and ask them what is their expected returns from all the FNO activity that they do, they will say it's around 2% a month, which is 24% annualized.
Yeah.
And 24% annualized after doing it on a full-time basis,
exactly.
right? Now, if you just invested in mutual funds, you would still make anywhere between 12 to 15%, not on the short term.
And you won't have that headache.
You won't have that stress, and you can probably increase your income by more than 10%. If you can do that, then your annual returns have increased sizably, right?
Fair enough.
So this is where I ask most people to focus on achieving average returns, but be extraordinary in terms of how much time you can remain invested in the markets and how fast you can grow your income.